You can support me by turning on notifications, subscribing to my channel, and liking the video. Waiting for your comments. The Unending Trail of Shadows, global disappearances that baffled detectives for centuries, conjures images of dusty files piled high in police archives, half-faded photographs taped to corkboards, and determined investigators scouring every corner of the map in search of people who vanished without a trace. For as long as societies have recorded history, unsettling cases of unexplained disappearances have persisted, defying all logic and leaving behind gaping mysteries that no amount of forensics, eyewitness testimony, or cutting-edge technology could solve. Such vanishings do not follow neat patterns or limit themselves to any single era. They occur in bustling cities and remote villages alike, sometimes involving a solitary hiker on a mountain trail, other times an entire ship's crew never found at sea. Over time, this endless string of unexplained fates has earned a grim reputation among detectives as the Unending Trail of Shadows, a moniker suggesting that each new mystery is but another stepping stone in an infinite path of unanswered questions. Historians note that the earliest records of such disappearances come from ancient tablets inscribed by Babylonian scribes referencing desert caravans that simply failed to arrive. No wreckage or footprints were found, just an expanse of silent dunes. Centuries later, during the Song dynasty in China, entire families occasionally seemed to evaporate overnight, leaving a perfectly arranged dinner table and doors locked from the inside. The local magistrates wrote perplexed accounts of investigating silent homes that felt curiously cold despite the summer heat. That same eerie emptiness, a still life devoid of occupants, would be repeated in future centuries in different continents. Consider the 18th century Arctic voyages. Multiple explorers documented glimpses of derelict whaling ships drifting aimlessly, found with clothes still hung on lines, partially eaten meals on plates, but no crew. The unsettled hush reverberated across every cabin as if time itself had paused mid-action. In each case, the investigating parties left with more questions than answers, fueling maritime legends of ghost vessels and curses. Jumping forward to the early 20th century, the world grew smaller with advanced communication methods, yet the disappearances continued, seemingly unimpeded by telegraphs or newspapers. One infamous example is the Dorian Trail settlement in Argentina, a colony of nearly 50 families who established a thriving ranching community. One spring, a traveling merchant found the settlement abandoned, livestock wandering aimlessly, hearths still glowing with embers, but not a soul around. Search parties traversed surrounding grasslands for weeks with no results. Rumors abounded: mass abduction, plague, or a sudden spiritual exodus. The strangest part was that cooking pots on stoves still contained fresh stew, showing that the inhabitants must have left only hours before the merchant's arrival. Investigators from Buenos Aires concluded that not a single personal effect was removed from the homes. All valuables and documents remained in place. A sense of hushed panic gripped ranchers for hundreds of miles around, convinced that something or someone had swept across the settlement in a single silent instant. Another equally baffling event took place in post-war Japan, where police records mention the Takayama Village enigma. This rural hamlet perched on a mountainside, accessible only by a single winding dirt road, prided itself on self-sufficiency. The local garrison occasionally checked in to ensure no bandits troubled the remote populace. Then, in 1950, a young officer found the entire village deserted. Mats in homes were carefully laid out, kimonos still hung on lines, but the inhabitants, some 100 or more, had disappeared. Oddly enough, the crops were left unharvested. The officer mentioned footprints that led toward the nearby forest, but abruptly stopped at a rocky outcrop with no alternate path. The following official search expedition found no remains, no sign of a struggle. An old Shinto shrine near the outcrop contained bizarre smears of ash and a stone figurine shaped like a horned creature no one could identify. Locals spread rumors about yokai or mountain spirits claiming their due. The incident was quietly dropped from major headlines as more pressing post-war issues emerged, leaving behind only local legends that the entire community was taken by forest kami in a moment of ethereal convergence. If these vanishings seem too remote or culturally isolated, the modern era offers equally perplexing sagas. Commercial flights that veered off course and never reappeared, entire tourist groups lost in national parks under perfect weather conditions, their gear found neatly stacked near a waterfall as though they'd calmly undressed and walked away. In many such cases, official statements mention possible misadventure, an avalanche, a rogue wave, a freak accident, yet the evidence rarely aligns with these simple explanations. In a well-known incident from 1972 in the American Southwest, a group of 5 college friends embarked on a weekend desert hike. They checked in with park rangers about their route, promising to report back in 3 days. The weather was mild. When they failed to return, a major search operation was launched. Rangers found their campsite fully intact, tents unzipped, sleeping bags unrolled, a half-cooked meal on the portable stove, but no footprints leading away. The ground, rocky and hard, lacked telling tracks, but the area was open and visible for miles with minimal coverage. Not a trace of them ever surfaced, fueling wild speculation, alien abduction, secret underground passage, or even a mass hallucination leading them to wander off. No subsequent clues surfaced in decades, no remains, no personal items scattered. They simply joined the unending trail of shadows. The psychological impact of these collective vanishings on investigators cannot be understated. Detectives and rescue teams speak of nights spent sifting through leads, losing sleep to nightmares, haunted by the possibility that some malevolent presence or ephemeral phenomenon is at work. Occasionally, they mention half-formed theories of dimensional rifts or new physical anomalies not yet understood by science, like phenomena that momentarily displace living beings from our reality. People try to remain rational, but the swirl of unsolved cases spanning centuries can break even the most logical mind. Skeptics point to mundane factors, remote terrain swallowing travelers, elaborate hoaxes to collect insurance, or outlaws orchestrating mass kidnappings. While plausible for isolated occurrences, it fails to satisfy the global pattern or the meticulous staging left behind. Why would criminals neatly set plates, preserve valuables, or remove entire families at once without leaving ransom demands? Each region's unsolved vanishings share a disturbing uniformity, abrupt departure, minimal or no sign of struggle, and a chilling sense that the victims had no time to fight or flee. Some conspiracy theorists weave these tales into one grand tapestry. They claim a hidden cosmic force or clandestine group orchestrates these disappearances. They highlight symbolic details, like the mention of footprints stopping mid-trail, or communal sites left intact, as though the inhabitants vanished mid-action. They cite parallels in folklore, from the British Isles' fairy abductions to the vanished Mesoamerican enclaves. A small but fervent community believes we are witnessing an ongoing phenomenon, call it a multi-century pattern, where something or someone harvests people from across the globe. The official stance is that these stories are a patchwork of exaggerations, conflating separate incidents under a single ominous label. But the label persists precisely because of the sense that normal explanations unravel. The idea that an entire village or a group of travelers can disappear without trace, repeated throughout history, stirs a primal dread that we are not fully in control of our environment. Even advanced technology can't always track the final footsteps. And so, the puzzle remains. A final chilling footnote to this global puzzle lies in the diaries left behind by a French ethnographer, Lucy Dupin, who roamed remote corners of Asia in the 1980s. She documented an isolated hill tribe recounting an ancestral exodus where an unknown dark wind swept in, causing many families to vanish overnight. Survivors who escaped believed the wind carried murmuring voices, urging them to follow. The diaries note that such tales match region after region in her travels, albeit with local color differences. Some mention a white fog or a twisting melody, luring unsuspecting villagers away. Dupin, in her last entry, wrote that she felt an odd presence watching her from the forest edges. After that line, she never posted another entry. She was found alive, but delirious days later, wandering aimlessly, having lost most of her memory of that period. She had become part of the unending chain of mysteries. In the end, the unending trail of shadows, global disappearances that baffled detectives for centuries, is less a neat chronicle than a swirling testament to humankind's fear of vanishing into the unknown. It's a cautionary tapestry from the dawn of recorded history to modern times, crossing deserts, forests, oceans, and cultural barriers. Each unsolved case raises the same disquieting question. Could it happen here to us without warning? Perhaps the only solace is in our attempts to unravel the how and why, yet the answers remain elusive, flickering at the edge of understanding. Even the best minds can't fully close these cases, leaving them open wounds in the annals of unsolved phenomena. One might observe that these vanishings share a certain hush, like a ripple passing through a community before receding. Families remain to grieve or puzzle, and the missing ones are swallowed by legend. The footprints that abruptly stop, the plates set for a meal, the caravans that never arrive, each resonates with the same eerie silence, as if a greater force momentarily paused reality and carried the victims away. In modern offices, jaded detectives glance over new missing person reports, feeling an unease that perhaps another chapter of the unending trail begins. They keep investigating, rewriting leads, rechecking witness statements, yearning for that moment of clarity. It rarely comes. And so the cycle continues, an open invitation for new explorers or the next generation of investigators to push deeper, connecting fragments from across centuries and continents. Maybe someday a comprehensive pattern will emerge, some quantum anomaly or hidden malevolence that explains it all. Or maybe the trail is truly unending, the vanishings unstoppable, forever feeding rumors that Earth holds pockets of reality through which entire groups slip away. For now, we share these accounts as stark reminders that despite all our progress, the world still harbors mysteries that defy neat conclusions. The roads remain open, the deserts broad, and the seas vast. There is ample room for more shadows to claim the unsuspecting. In that sense, the unending trail stretches onward, beckoning us to remain vigilant, lest we too become footprints fading into the dust.